And we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to Whiskey Charlie, the War Game Chat, our monthly show on YouTube. I'm your host, Mo from Mo's Game Table, and joining me are my two amazing co-hosts, everybody's favorite gimp with the limp, the Gimpy Gamer, Nate Rogers. How's it going, Nate?
Another glorious day in the core.
Of course.
Happy to be here.
And the notorious fetishized wargaming wizard from Oz, Kev Short from the big board. How's it going, Kev?
Wait, my hat won't fit. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I mean, how could I not be happier?
This is true. This is true. So you are looking at some rain. You're hoping for some rain in your big rain barrels this week, huh?
Yes, that is right. Yeah, we're potentially about to get some rain, so I'm excited.
The things that make us excited the older we get.
Yeah, I know. Really, you're right. It's like things we get excited about. Rain.
Ooh, it's like at 50-cent coffees at McDonald's.
Oh, look at Paul Sin. He's got like a ninja. He looks like.
Oh yeah, Mr. Ninja.
Collecting water is actually not a bad idea.
Where do these people come from?
They just all showed up. It's awesome.
Are we taking them from somewhere else?
Yeah, Brian's here.
The legend's here. That's the only one that matters.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad I'm here.
No, the real legend, Stuka Joe.
Stuka Joe, yes.
Well,
so, what's been up with you, Nate? What have you been up to lately?
Just keeping busy. Seems like I go through. I don't know if you guys notice this, but games come in waves.
Yes.
Right. You'll have lulls where it's like, what the hell can I cover? And then the next time you turn around, it's like, oh my God, I have no spare time. So I'm in the I have no spare time thing between all the digital shit that's releasing all at the same time and the physical stuff that's coming in. Like Burden of Command, you remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've done some videos on that. Guess more coming up. The Scramble Battle for Britain. That's from Slytherin. That comes out later this month. And then, of course, World of War 85. And a reviewer sent me, was it Storm of Steel, the Stuka yes. game. Yeah, so just covered that. And then, like I was telling you guys beforehand, Maladum. Love Maladum. Can't wait to play it. So I'm building and painting all that shit right now. A lot of good stuff going on.
Wow,
nice.
That's cool.
Nice. It is true. What about you, Kev? I know you got a few things in.
Yeah, I did actually. So the Sound of Drums is just like knocking it out of the park at the moment. But so I got that 1793. I would call it Here I Stand, simplified and playable in a less time 5-player game.
in a tenth of the time.
In the 10th of the time French Revolution thing. That's pretty cool. He said, "Oh, can you just play a game and record it and get it done before October 31st?"
Like the 31st.
It's like kind of got here on like the 27th or something. I was like, "Yeah, that's not gonna happen, bro." So took some pictures, did a shrink rip thing, and I read the rules. And I started setting. I was like, "I'm not happy." So because it's little bit out of my wheelhouse. But anyway, and then he also sent Assault, the Sicily campaign.
Assault Sicily 43.
Yeah,
Tell me that's not an obscene box.
Oh, it's just ridiculous.
Oh, that game's phenomenal. I can't recommend it enough.
It's crazy. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting tactical level game. You just kind of got to get past the scale of it, And that box it's got to have every bit of 30 plus scenarios in it. So I was kind of like, what the heck?
Well, the problem is the footprint on the table, because you can't just have the map. You've got to have a card for every
data
single
cards
unit
and everything else. Yeah,
right, all the formations and stuff like that.
The map looks good. It's nice and clean because the counters are mucked up with numbers, but the numbers are outsourced off the table. So you got a lot you got to keep track of.
And big graphical and quality upgrade with Sound of Drums printing it too. I was super impressed because I got the other one out, the original one out, and compared the two. Night and day, man. It was awesome.
Which is funny because the first one was still phenomenal.
Yeah.
You've been what's the Compass Games one? The one that you kept when you did your purge. The Last Gamble.
Oh, last game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, in fact, I just finished a scenario of that. That was what I was going to say next. I shouldn't say finished. I didn't finish it, but I got to a stalemate in my mind, and so yeah, it's an epic production as well. It's probably the best game Compass has released, I think, in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and the game, I recorded a video today. I haven't released it yet, but it's for me, and I don't want to like suck all the air out of the room, but the bulge to me is kind of like, yeah, okay, we know the Americans going to win, and there's no way the Germans can win, but can we have some fun with it? And I think this game gives you so many options and so many optional rules and choices and even mechanics that it comes down to good gameplay versus some goofy ass rule that like
No matter what you do, you're going to lose.
yeah, like RN44, it's kind of locked in with the rules and the way the counter values are structured. You can't do anything. But I'm playing that right now online with a buddy, and if he sees this video, he's going to be angry because I'm doing really well as Germans, but I'm hating every minute of it at the moment. So
Really?
yeah, it's just miserable. Anyway, that's all I'm doing
Yeah.
right now.
Every
I'm
time I turn around, you were either posting a video up of Last Gamble, or
Yep.
you were telling someone how they're a piece of shit. Like that was it.
I
That was
never
all
That
I
was
was
it.
I have
It's
not
an average
told,
every day for Kev.
I have
Yeah.
not told anyone they're a piece of shit.
Well, figuratively.
Okay, I may have
It's a
said that
figurative piece of shit.
they are uninformed or unaware or don't know what they're talking about. But
Uninformed. That could be applied to a lot of people in society today.
well, there you go. You know. Is that wind too loud? Because if it is, I'll
No. I mean, I can hear it. Is it bothering anybody else hearing that
well anybody else.
Texas prairie wind?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Gale, 20 miles an hour right now.
No,
Anyway.
I mean, it only comes up every, so often. So it's a little life.
What you been playing, Mr. Mo?
Yes, what's going on, Mike?
Playing is not in my thing here. I'm still working on videos. I'm working on the next Learn to Play, which is going to be for Grant, and waiting for Bruce to send over those edits for me to work on finishing up the Aaron Armor videos. And then when that's done, then I can actually sit down, although I'm probably going to steal some time to play this. I got this on Kickstarter. I was showing you guys this. It is Forward Defense 85, Company Command in World War III. See if that is kind of cutting out a little bit, but
That looks like something that would come out from Tiny Battle.
it is printed by same company, and it's done by the Strategist 10 Games. And it says the time is 60 to 90 minutes. Complexity is low to medium, solitaire, ages 14 and up. It's basically you're in Fulda in 1985, and you have tiles that you lay out. So you change your map up with that. And everything's, you put your units out and you fight based on against an AI. So I'm like, hey, I'm all on board with that. And here's the cool thing about it, right? This is just a 16-page rule book. Oh, look at that, Gimpy. You're going to be all excited. Bag of dice, D20s.
Hey, D20s, that's better.
They got these.
Anything besides the 6.
These are data cards, right, for all the units. And this is something you don't normally see in a 16-page rule book. Spiral bound.
Nice.
Looks like an old FM, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to hopefully sit down and play this sometime this week. I'm probably just going to punch it and start playing it. I'm not going to try to shoot any video on it. I'm just going to try to sit down, punch it, and play it. And then there's the other video that I got coming out for this one here.
Ooh.
Anybody who has the most fearful sacrifice, this is coming out at the end of the year. This is a prototype, so it's not the final version. So you may be seeing that with other people too. And then, of course,
and speaking of which, with the most fearful sacrifice, don't forget to mention that they've got their Kickstarter going on now.
Yep.
Yeah, Rocket Chickamauga.
Yeah, we need to talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
Yep, that's one of the things we'll be talking about. And then I've got what was I going to say? Assault, which you've already shot a video on. I'm going to shoot one too, and 1793, which is really, I mean, it's impressive. It is an impressive looking game. And I'm telling you, Sound of Drums and VUCA, both of those guys are really setting a whole new bar for war game publishers and war game and historical board game publishers. They are setting a new bar.
Crushing it. That 1793, the Paris map, has inserts where you put the cards in and the cards fit, and it's got a little hole where you can lift the card out, and that's the execution plaza or whatever.
That's for the laws at the top, and then all the different locations that you're fighting for control over. That you put the cubes in and all.
It's got cool meeples.
Let me ask this.
I'm all excited.
For fear of finding the truth out, does Volkov respond? Do you guys ever contact them?
Who? VUCA?
VUCA, yeah.
VUCA, whatever.
VUCA. Maybe that's why they're like, hey, VUCA.
No, I feel bad because
the Marine Corps. You can't be calling everybody.
You're such a VUCA.
They had sent me a couple games way back when, and I covered one. I forgot to cover the other, and I stumbled across it, a month or so back. So I covered it, the Crossing the Line one that I talked about previously. And I sent them an email, apologized, like, hey, here's the review video. I had set it on my shelf. I forgot, blah, 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 blah. I sent it to them. I sent them the extra videos that I had done on it. I did a couple, contacted them on Facebook. It's like, hey, here's the links in case you need it. And nothing, just dead air. And I'm like, they're either pissed or they just don't like me to begin with or something. I'm missing a.
I
don't like you.
You're dead to them.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That
did you send it to the right email?
I think
did you
so.
Did you send it to the right email? You didn't send it to VUCKA.com, and because you're calling them VUCA, so I'm figuring.
No, I looked it up off their website to check.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
Interesting.
Well, we'll have to check. We'll have to check on that.
I don't think they'll send me any more games. They sent me Knocked 1918 or whatever it is that
Knocked Paris.
Yeah, and I started posting stuff, and then I got a bunch of corrections from them. And I was like, I'm getting all this wrong, so I deleted all that stuff, and then it was
it's still in his inbox. It's a draft.
Yeah, that's
I hit send.
Paul's crushing you, and then I hit. I hit Stigler up. He wanted to play, and that was a year ago. So I haven't touched it. So, and I don't think, and I was not impressed with Red Storm. So I'm probably going to be very circumspect about my future purchases. But beautiful games, nevertheless.
Yeah. No, I mean the thing with VUCA that I've found with VUCA is, at least so far in my opinion, they make, and the production quality, them and Sound of Drums are. They really have. I think they're above American publishers. All the American publishers.
Oh, by
a wide margin.
Yeah. And Flying Pig is doing some. They're doing some pretty good stuff, like high quality, good components.
No, they are. But
I mean, it's got good components. Nice counters.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, they've kind of lifted their game, like better maps in World of War 85 is much better.
Exactly. Yeah. And they've got the canvas maps that they're doing as well.
Yep.
So the American companies aren't bad by any means.
No.
Yeah, but I think he means the big, like GMT and MMP. I think VUCA and Sound of Drums and even Hexasim to a certain degree are just they're Nuts Publishing. I think they're doing well, although Nuts is probably more in line with GMT. I think they're doing higher quality production, very thoughtful. It's more thoughtful, I think.
Yeah.
In terms of how are you interacting with the game, I think they really think about that a lot more than, let me just put a map down. I'm going to put a turn track on the right-hand side and the compass on the left-hand side, and here's a couple of freaking charts. Off you go. Have a nice day, boys. Right? I think they're more thoughtful, right?
Yeah. But with MMP, though, MMP doesn't really seem interested in picking up new players. It's almost like they strike me as the type that like we have our customers, we're happy with them, we're just gonna keep them happy,
right? Because they ASL, right? So that's all I care about, really. Everything
it seems to be like they focus on that, but they could pick up a much bigger market or a piece of the market if they would just
maybe they don't want to do. It means they've got to hire
It
more
wouldn't
warehouse
take them much.
people. And
They just don't
customers.
like you.
No, I always said, I told you, I got a guy that owns a store, works for MMP.
Yeah.
And I told him specifically about Kev. I was like, look, I'll give you his contact details. And evidently he went to them and pushed it, and they just weren't interested.
Yeah, they're
Which
not.
doesn't
They
make
don't
sense.
really. They don't really work a lot with content creators. They just that's never been their thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not really shocking. But this is a good point here. What Nordic said. I want to ask GMT what was with Banish All Their Fears and how that passed quality control.
Yeah.
That's a really good point because that game, from all the things I've heard about it, is just not playable out of the box.
Yeah.
You can't make sense of the rules, and it's like how. Yeah, you have to ask yourself. But by the same token, GMT is human. And it's run by people, and people do the quality control. They make the decisions, and things happen. They just do. We can be mad all we want about it,
Right.
and we're right to be mad. But mistakes happen. Errata happens. That's just life, unfortunately. Sometimes games get through that shouldn't have gotten through, and then sometimes games get made that never should have been made.
Yeah, well, especially like GMT's trying to expand their portfolio so much. I think they're struggling to find good developers, and the war game corner of their world is shrinking. But the good news is they do have a cadre, I think, of guys who do well, like Ralph Shelton and Alan Murray and guys like that. They're super solid. But what are you going to do?
Well, I actually spoke to them recently. Well, someone associated with GMT, because I don't do a whole lot with GMT, but I like their Fields of Fire series. I always have.
Right.
And I talked to the designer of that. He's got the Afghanistan module, the volume 3 that's going to be coming out, and they're doing a revamped deluxe edition. And one of the things we spoke about was the fact that he was very specifically pushing for noob players, people who had never played it, had low war game experience, because that was one of the things he got dinged on the hardest for Fields of Fire was its difficulty to entry. It was a hard game to learn.
Right. You're talking about Ben Hull, right? The designer or the developer?
I'm talking about
Ben Hull's the designer.
No, I'm talking about Colin. I can't remember his.
Oh, I know the guy. Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, I think that's the wrong game to try and make it an entry level game, but sure.
No. Not trying to make it entry level, but to streamline the process a little bit, so you don't feel like you're going through a college course.
Right. All right. So I should sell my current version I have and wait for this new shit to come out.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing a deluxe edition for a revamp of the first one, and like I said, they're doing a Afghanistan version that has 3 eras in it, like I think World War II era, and then something around Vietnam era, and then modern day.
I have the old breed one, and I'm waiting for them to update that.
Yeah.
With all the new stuff, because I took a look at the rules, and like Matt was saying, it's a wall of text with few examples, and then hearing the problems that people have had with it, I was just like, yeah, it's definitely something I want to play, especially if it's centered on the Marine Corps. At least that one is. I want to play it, but it'll just go on the shelf. I'm not going to bother with it until until I have time, or maybe someone, because I had heard rumblings that they were going to correct things and make them, give you better educational material on how to play the game better. And allegedly
it appeals to me because of its structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the chain of command and passing communications down from on high down to the troop level. And that's what I did in the Marines, right? Commo. So that really just follows with me. I understand the premise of what they're trying to do and why you would get.
So you're going to sit there at the table and be like, Black 8, this is Black 3, stand by.
Yeah, basically. Stand by for traffic.
Air support denied. Air support still denied.
Stand by for traffic. Break. Charlie 3, Charlie 3.
No,
the commander doesn't tell the private to pull the trigger, right? The sergeant tells him to pull the trigger, but the order to do so comes from the commander. It gets disseminated down through. Yeah. It's just getting that information into the player's head when you feel like you're looking at a college textbook. It is not easy. It's a slog of a rule book to get through.
Well, so shame on them for letting that pass muster, right? It probably shouldn't have. But look, all the publishing houses make those mistakes.
Sure.
At one point or another, Compass has had its
Mhm.
share of woes. As Brian Patterson mentions here nicely, Revolution is one of those companies that where the owner plays every freaking game many times and gets it right. So they're a great little company, but it's very standard, very traditional approach to doing things.
Well, he plays every game at least 30 times. Roger does.
Well,
So
he has issues.
that's how he that's how he tightens things up. But that's also why they only produce like 1 or 2 games a year too.
Right.
You can't produce at a higher level
Right.
if you're not. But that's the model he's chosen, and it's been successful for them, and we're thankful for that because the games are always solid.
But he's doing a lot of those Lutman sort of spin-off titles, so I'm sure they don't get because
they don't need the play testing that the other games do. Yeah, so that eases it up for him because then he can speed up production on getting those games out.
Yeah, very cool. It's like when they had that chip pool system, they had 4 or 5 or 6 releases of that went really well. I forget what it was called, but whatever that was, that system, World War II Eastern Front stuff.
What's his name? Roger Healy? Is that the guy I'm thinking
Miller.
of?
Miller. Yeah.
But are they learn to play videos? Sorry,
there's some good ones out there. Some people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, what was it here? There was another. Oh yeah. John C says he just backed Rocket Chickamauga. That's one of the things we're going to talk about today. Is now on Kickstarter for Flying Pig Games, and like everything else, we were just showing the Pipe Creek here, and they're gigantic boxes that they've got. You know that it's go big or go home when it's Flying Pig. He definitely does not sell anything. Yeah, everything's huge, which is great.
Are they 3/4 inch or 1 inch counters?
I'm not sure. Let's double check. I think there might be 3/4 inch.
Yeah,
I think
they're substantial. Yeah, I think it's cool.
Let's see.
They were large regardless.
Yeah. Well, and I like the fact that you've got that sort of you feel like it's expansive, in terms of its play space and whatever. You feel like you're playing a big grand tactical game. It's pretty nifty. I'll be curious to see how this all works out. Hopefully they get the charts right this time, right, with bigger fonts, better card stock.
Font doesn't work.
Well, the funny thing is, in the video, you'll see the Pipe Creek one. The prototype is what they sent. The player aid is not in the box.
Oops.
That had to be sent separate. Well, it's in the same box. It came in the same shipping box, but it didn't fit in the game box because it was too big. Because it was a prototype. It was just slightly too big to fit in the box. And they were like, oh no, for the game, it's going to fit in the box. The size is going to be thing, but it's huge. It's huge. So it's definitely going to be a better size here. So Rocket Chickamauga is up to 90,000 right now, 674 backers.
Yeah. That's going to be.
They are doing a third map where they have the center of the 2 maps on the backside of one of the maps. So the area where most of the gameplay is going to take place, you can flip one of the maps over, and you've got that there. Yep. That way, unless you're playing one of the grander campaigns in the game, you can just have one map on the board, and it fulfills your needs for most of the scenarios. That's a nice improvement.
So they're 13th, 16th. So they're 3/4 inch. And then he's got 5/8 for the admin counters.
That's huge. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, the system is really what makes that game. That whole divisional brigade activation, rolling to see how much you're getting to activate each turn.
Yep. And it's Chaos of War too. I mean, I think it accurately, based on the other American Civil War tactical games I've played, I think it pretty accurately represents the chaos, right? It probably a little too much for some people who like to have that God's eye view, but I love the way that the orders work out and the cards that you get to play to enhance the gameplay, and choosing which commands you're going to activate and how often they'll get to activate and all that sort of fun stuff. Who's got priority really makes you think about what you're doing as the overall commander of the battle. I've seen some guys complaining about, oh well, it's just too chaotic. I can't concentrate. There's so many colors. So
It's too chaotic.
Like,
it's
a
just
war
so
game.
chaotic. It just
It's war.
I remember when I was playing
be
A
combat.
Most Fearful Sacrifice, I had the Confederate cannons shooting over Confederate troops to hit Union troops. And of course, you're not supposed to be able to do that. I was
Right.
messing up the rules. And I was thinking, oh, well, they're just shooting over the heads of their own guys. They should be fine. And I think it was Herman who contacted me and was like, yeah, the cannons weren't all that accurate. So you can't have them shooting directly. They're not laser guided munitions.
it's just,
You don't
it's just
shoot
not
next to your
2020,
troops.
dude.
Yeah.
This is great. That's great. Yeah.
It's a fun game though. And they did good. What's that rating? Cohesion, I think is what they called it in the game. And it
Yep.
made sense logically why your troops' defense would go down if you had breaks in your lines, right?
Yes.
So you didn't want to have little brigades broken up. You need to keep them together, and if they were together, they had a stronger defense. But it gave your opponent reasons to try to attack in the center. Might be harder, but if you could break their lines, then you could pick off the remaining, troops easier.
Divide and conquer, etc.
Yeah. And the game just worked well all the way across.
So Mark says, chaos. My last game, I rolled 6 1s in a row on Yule's activations. Nothing like getting to move one brigade out of a core 6 turns in a row. Yeah, that does pretty much suck.
That's called house ruling, baby, right there. It's like, I think that was a cock die. Let me roll that again.
Ended up passing on Thunder into Mississippi by MMP. I agree with Kevin. Too much money for what you're actually getting.
Yeah. I'm that whole thing. The MMP games have just become very expensive, and I think they can ask what pretty much whatever they want, and there's a core of it. So you're just going to buy the game, and that is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
sure
what I'm
that's out
saying.
of the box, right?
They're not concerned about picking
Right.
up new people that they
No.
could. They need to expand their horizons a little bit. What does it cost to produce one of those games? $20, $30, something like that.
Yes, 7, 10.
Yeah. So for the cost of a few games, pick some guys out there who are already covering MMP games and doing a good job of it, and send them the new stuff so they can advertise it for you. Hell, I barely cover MMP stuff because I just don't know most of their games. You don't hear about it. There's no marketing behind it.
Yeah.
And there's so much else out there that's getting so much more attention. Why am I going to go pick up MMP when I've got 4 to War 85 that's coming out?
But which ones would you want to play?
You're talking about like BCS, SCS?
I mean, any of the games, any of the systems, which ones would you actually be interested in, do you think?
Kev, which is the one that had the logistics focus?
OCS.
Yeah.
OCS would be that one. Like I said, I've got a few of their games on my shelf. I just haven't had a chance to pull them out.
Yeah.
What's it called? The Last Blitzkrieg? Is that the right name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that one. I got a handful of their other games. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, OCS is one that everybody loves, and it's like the gold standard for a lot of people. And me, I'm just like, I've gotten a couple of them a couple times, and then I sell them, and every time I look at them, I'm like, yeah, I'm interested, but not really. Like, I have Korea still, and I think if I'm gonna play one, it'll probably be Korea, just because that'll probably be the one that would interest me most.
Yep.
But I don't know. There's
they have some smaller scenarios in there too. So
yeah, the whole logistics thing is just like, I just want to get in the fight. I just want to get in the fight. Let the logistics weenies deal with that stuff. I want to get into the fight.
Yeah, and I think the late war OCS Eastern Front stuff uses these concepts around supply heads where you're not shuttling as much supply. Now, people are automatically in attack supply if they're within X range, and so you're not paying as many tokens and trying to shuttle a truck up to give a guy stuff unless you're in trouble, right? Which I get into all the time with that friggin' system. But so they're streamlining a lot of it to make it more accessible, but they're also making the games bigger, so it gets more complicated. Some of the new stuff that's coming, it's all going to link to Third Winter, and it's 15 feet long. I mean, it's, if you put them all together, it's several thousand counters, and that's an even, I mean, I set up Case Blue and GB2, Good and Blitzkrieg 2. I've set those two up and played them and played it for like 60 turns or something, 50 turns. But I don't see myself setting up from Leningrad to Sevastopol with, 1943 or 1944 and the mega Soviets and the Germans. I'm not sure that's something I'm excited about. Might play the smaller scenarios, but anyway.
Here's one for you, Gimpy. Nordic says, if you want to thrill stand in front of the cannons when they go off, the concussion blast will rock your world. Yes, they will. But there's a trick to it.
Been there.
If you stand at the right area, if you get to the right angle of it, it's the same with a tank. You get to the right angle, you can literally stand there with no earplugs in or anything. The concussion will be loud, but it goes away from you so much at that point because you're kind of at that brake line, that invisible brake line, and it goes away, and it's just like you'll feel a thump through your body, and you're like, this is cool. Go about 3 more feet up. You won't think it's cool. You'll be knocked to the ground because it'll just be like, shit. It just get that piercing pain in your ear. Oh yeah, it's a trip. And the funny thing is, he said he did that. He said he did that at Monmouth Courthouse. So he was back in for that one is back in my old neck of the woods. It's down in Freehold, New Jersey. So what were you going to say?
Are you talking to me or Kev?
You. Because I cut you off.
I was always behind the tanks. I only got around them on my first tour. Second tour, we didn't have any tanks. We had a bunch of armored Humvees, and that was it. So no big cannons to worry about. We didn't need to use tanks. We just didn't have a use for them. So it was gun trucks everywhere we went.
Yeah.
But yes, you could tell when a tank fired nearby. The blast of it.
No, yeah. The one that got me noticeable.
The one that got me the most, it wasn't a tank, it was IED that got set off. I remember it was July 4th because me and a buddy were drinking.
Happy 4th of July.
And we were in the middle. Yeah, we were tossing back a few hours in the middle of the city, manning a retrans site. And someone tripped a big ID, and it blew, but it blew hard enough that the concussion blast knocked us both in the chest, and we got knocked on our butts. And we look at each other and we just start laughing, and we just went right back to drinking. If they're going to get us, they'll get us. But that seems like it's far enough away that it's someone else's problem for the night.
Right.
Haji whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I think with that great campaigns for American Civil War that Brian was talking about, I wonder if it's because they've got to pay the 2 developers or designers as much as they need to, because that system's kind of got a lock. Right?
Is that GMT or MMP?
That's MMP. It's another MMP thing. But the price I just have felt like the prices have gone up for that particular system, and BCS is okay. OCS has got expensive. They keep the SCS stuff relatively cheap, and they kind of FUBAR TCS because it all comes in a Ziploc bag now. So it's kind of.
Well, it seems like most of their games come out, they're either like $60 or $200.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
until you get to the sale.
Yeah, well, so that's what I'm doing now. I got plenty of games. I can wait 2 years and I'll pick up something either secondhand or on sale. I'm not going to be Johnny on the spot anymore with much of their stuff except for OCS and TCS.
It's like what is that one? The Longest Day, I think it is.
Right.
They
have Avalon Hill.
Yeah, it looks good, and I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I would like to have that in my collection, but then I'm like, really, would I pull that out? And is it really worth whatever $220, $230, whatever they're charging for?
Oh, you mean Day of Days, or
that might be it. It's a big one.
The big
Oh,
G-Wagon.
you're thinking, the GTS stuff is it Utah or whatever, right? Is it
Yeah,
Utah?
yeah. It's the beach landings, but it's in one of those big boxes.
Yes.
They had it set up at that WBC me and you went to. Remember, right there was lock and load, and then next to it was this like 8-foot by 8-foot table.
Right.
Yeah, that's the game I'm thinking of. They had the whole
Right.
thing set up. They didn't get through a turn in the whole damn week. It looked cool though.
Yeah.
I think you are mental, John, if you love logistics.
I think that system, I'm not a big fan of that GTS system unless it's changed a lot with the new management.
Well, SES seems like it'd be the simplest.
Tony, I wouldn't say I taught you, I schooled you. I mean, you're the only guy who just decided not to listen.
Now he's working on his thesis on OCS.
Yeah. He's doing a thesis on logistics and how to bring what's the center of gravity. Yeah.
Now, this is true. SCS is a clean and very elegant system. It is, and it's got very low rules overhead, like 8 pages, I think. And then you have, of course, the module-specific rules, which add 2 to 4 more pages, maybe.
Yeah.
So you get a really good game system for like less than 12 pages of rules overall.
Yeah. And they play fast too. I mean, they're fun, and they're not like super detailed or super historical, but you can have a blast. We played all of them as a team in Austin several years ago. They're good times. We set 2 copies up side by side and played 2 teams of 2.
Hey, Tony, I just saw this here. It says Masters of Education in Teaching History. So you're going to get a meth degree?
He's getting a meth degree.
Meth degree? You're going to be a meth head. METH. Sorry, I just saw that and I was like, oof.
Look at his cool little logo. Look at all these guys getting all professional. So pro.
Fancy.
Next level pro.
Yeah, professional. Making us look bad. I love it.
Hold up, screw up. John, it's just the military, man. They have an acronym for everything. And that's just the one they decide to use for all traps. John Haley is asking, why did IED take over the phrase for booby trap?
Yeah. Improved explosive device.
Improvised, right?
Or improvised, yeah. And then you have VBIDs for vehicle and SFS or suicide belts.
Speaking of which, when are we gonna get some game on? Right?
I know that's how busy I've been.
Dude, I'm getting twitchy to play again. Even my two boys like, Dad, what's going on? I thought you guys were all in on this Fallujah game. They're playing Squad right now.
Oh, really?
Well, Squad's good too.
Oh yeah, that's a really good game. I'd love to.
You can't just sit back and play Squad though. The guys that play that game, they're serious.
They're super hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very hardcore into that game. And if you're new to the game, people will treat you like crap.
That's messed up.
I remember one of the very first times I got onto a multiplayer game. Like I was a total noob. I had never played before. I spawned in and I just shot all the guys that I saw that were all on my team. So yeah, I got kicked off the server real quick. That was my very first experience.
Of playing Fallujah?
No. We're playing. No,
he's talking about Squad.
Squad.
No, it's the online PC game. I just
TK'd everybody.
This is This is like early '90s or some bullshit like that, right? Where I was using GameSpy. You remember GameSpy?
Yes. Oh, I remember GameSpy.
Right. So yeah, I was at the server. I was like, "Oh, hey guys, what are we doing? Oh, we're going in. All right." Idiot. Click out.
Who is this noob?
Sorry, guys.
You should have got your what do you call it? Gamer tag from then on should have been TK421 from Star Wars.
Yeah,
Team Killer 421.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was we're gonna have to play Fallujah. We got to figure out a way to live stream that, because that would be a lot of fun doing a live stream of that and having people watching and chatting while we're in there just having fun shooting things up and smack talking each other.
Well, especially if we all live stream from our own viewpoint, right? That'd be cool.
Yeah,
and then they could watch have 3 browsers open to watch the 3 idiots play.
I know you can live stream straight from YouTube.
I think you could.
Could we
I
do it that
think
way?
you can do it from Steam. I'm
Yeah,
not
I mean,
sure.
you can just do Twitch or Steam, whatever. I
Yeah,
just
Twitch.
you know, my PC's really not set up to do that.
Yeah.
My stuff
Yeah.
sucks.
Kev's game would bog down because he's trying to stream and play the game at the same time. Get all laggy.
But no, you got a better computer now, don't you?
Yeah, I do, but my son still laughs at me. He's like,
Well, yeah, because he went out and bought like a $70,000 gaming computer.
he just bought a $700 video card because, oh, Dad, my video card broke. Really?
Yeah.
Why don't
Well,
you send it to me? Let me.
I was
put it
gonna
on
say
my-
he should have give you his old one, which was probably higher end than yours.
Yeah, I put it on another rig, and it was broken. So it's
Okay.
Do you know what he got? What new one he got?
Oh, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It was a decent high end NVIDIA.
Oh, it's an NVIDIA. Yeah.
NVIDIA GeForce. Did it begin with a 4 or a 3?
No, it was 4 series. Yeah.
Okay, so the 4 series is the newest one.
Yeah.
I've got a 4070 Ti in mine, and that's a beast of a card. It'll run anything on the market at top specs.
Yeah, my video card sucks. I got donkey dicks.
See, Kev doesn't need a high-end graphics card because he doesn't do all the video editing we do.
Right. Well, I used to. So that's why I had a decent video card back in the day, because I was doing all this editing and stuff, and now I just record it, and it is what it is. You should see the video.
Upload it straight from the Nokia phone, right?
Yeah.
Which one
Straight
do
from
you
my
have?
little Nokia phone with my half-inch screen. Yeah.
Which one do you have, Nate? I had to look mine up because I couldn't remember which one I have.
A 4070 Ti.
Okay, I got the RTX 4070. I probably should have gone higher than that even, but
Mine's an RTX 3060.
Okay. Yeah, so you've got at least 12 gigabytes of video RAM. You should be fine.
Yeah, but because my motherboard has a video card on it, my system decides when it wants to switch over. I haven't worked out how to slave it to the actual video card. It's really annoying.
Look, it's kind of like, right, if we put a 20-year-old pair of legs on you, that doesn't mean you're suddenly going to run fast, right? Because you still got an old ticker and chest and everything.
Wow.
Same principle.
He's
right?
in better shape than you are, Nate.
Hey, why don't you go fuck yourself?
Dude, I do calisthenics workout every single day. I have to, thanks to the shitty genes my father passed down to me.
Well, yeah.
Good. I hope it hurts too.
That fucker, when he died, he was like 450 pounds.
Oof.
How many push-ups do you do every day?
Anywhere between 20 and 100.
Okay, so there.
See, now this is not part of it though. Mini Warmut. There's no teabagging in Fallujah because it's literally 4-man co-op against the AI. So the only teabagging that goes on, if any, is usually Gimpy over on one of the Hajis. But other than that, we're too busy just continuing on and moving on and taking on all these guys. Yeah.
That's me trying not to have PTSD when the V-bit blows up and I think I'm dead.
The funniest thing ever. That was the funniest thing ever was when we were playing in what is it, the town that
it was in the city as we were moving through looking for the explosives cache.
And that V-bid comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, I see the truck coming at us because they said, there's a V-bid in the area, and I was like, V-bid, and you like ran, I ran, and thing went off, and you're like, holy shit, I didn't expect that to come up. I was like, well, they kind of did warn us in the lead-in that there might be a V-bid in the area.
I see the truck coming, and all of a sudden the screen goes black, and I'm like I was bracing for it all over again.
It was funny. It was funny.
Life had passed before me.
It's as funny as it can be when it comes to something like that, which is a traumatic experience that you're reliving. And I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying that you've lived through that. So when you see that sort of thing, what do? You laugh it off, which is what you did. And I did too, when I was busting your chops about it a little bit more. But yeah, the reaction that you had from that was, I thought that was really good because it was also very telling that they got the surprise.
Yeah.
They got the impact of it very accurate, which made it feel like it was real.
Oh yeah. It felt like for a second there, I was right back in it. I think I told you though, the funniest that ever happened to us was this idiot that tried to hit two convoys that were driving towards each other. And we see him come racing up. He was off to my right. And he tries to get in between the convoys to blow, but he must have pushed the trigger too soon. So he just drives up. And before we got into him or the other convoy got to him, he just blew up. So he didn't get anybody but himself. And the convoys just drive by, flaming car just sitting there. Marines jumping out of the turret, taking pictures. And we just kept on driving. The guy thought he was going to get a bunch, but I guess he got a little antsy to get his 72 reward and pulled the trigger a little too soon on himself.
72 Virginians.
He got 0. There's a couple of cool comments in here. There's someone said, to be fair, ACW, War Game Ramble, cram a lot in the box. There is a lot in the box. There's no question about it. But it's gone from $120 to like 180, 170 thereabouts. I'm guessing off the top of my head, and some of them are smaller. There's only 2 maps and 2 counter sheets, and yes, there's 40 pages of special rules. That's so awesome. Roll for weather every 10 seconds. I don't know. It's not a downer on them. I love that system, but I'm finding that I don't play it as much as I'd like to, so I'm not really prepared to invest any more money in it. In fact, I'm probably going to sell all the current ones off and keep the old versions because they're not really worth much anymore, and I'll just play them and be done with it.
No, they just don't seem known for it. I don't see people going to MMP for Civil War games. I see them going for OCS, BCS, SDS.
GCACW has a big following.
Yeah, it's got a big following.
Yeah, the line of battle stuff is different. I mean, I don't think that's as popular. It's probably a good system, but it doesn't really, for me, hold a candle to production quality wise and chaos wise to allotment stuff, blind swords.
Yeah,
stuff,
because you're going to spend less, right, for a most fearful sacrifice, and you get better component quality.
Oh, totally, and more scenarios, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. When it comes to dollar for value, most for sacrifice beats it out. Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to hate on MMP. It's just that's not where they're going to excel.
It's just not a value for money company, right?
Yeah. Here's the other thing about Pipe Creek, which I think everybody might like. Might find it real interesting if you have AMFS. There's 4 scenarios in there. There are what ifs, and the 4th what if is only going to be on the AMFS map. It is going to be Pickett's Charge, redo as I call it. Pickett's Charge, not with 15,000 troops, but with 23,000 troops. So you get the Confederates get boosted to see if they could do it this time, and I think it's interesting because how many times have people played Pickett's Charge, and they go, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to do it this time.
No, make it happen.
Yeah. And it just doesn't happen. Well, what happens if you had more troops? You had like a 50% boost in forces. And that right there is where you get the chance to play that out. So I think it's pretty cool. Plus there's now going to be cavalry and there's Spencer rifles as well, which I think is kind of neat. So they're going to add some new things in there along with the what ifs. So you get a whole bunch of new units, and you get the new maps, which are done by Jose Farah. And he did a really great job of capturing the essence of a Rick Barber map. So,
yeah, he did a good job. Yeah, it's a little more vibrant, but it's good.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah,
it's got a slightly different palette, but has the same feel.
Yep. It's got that hand drawn, beautiful aspect. I like Nordic's comment here about Ziploc versus boxed. That's you talk about paying a price, right? I mean, if someone's going to send me a Ziploc game, charge me. That's why I love Revolution games. You want to buy Ziploc, you can get it cheaper. You want to buy the box game, you pay an extra $7, $8, or $10. A box costs $4 or $5 for them to have, depending on the size. If they charge me $8 or $10, I'm happy with that. That's their margin, and I'm happy with that. But this Ziploc thing just really boils my butt. Some company's got a new. Who's that company that sent you guys those counter trays? The new counter trays?
Aegis. Aegis trays. Well, I bought those, the new magazine trays.
Yeah. You bought the magazine ones. Okay,
the
so
magazine ones. They sent me the other ones too. Yeah, in the past, but this time I bought these ones.
I need to get some of those because they look interesting because you can kind of make it into a boxed game in a Ziploc because it's got
pretty much because that thing kind of snaps down on top of it and it's got a little bit of a recessed indentation at the top where you put your magazine or your rule book, whichever. Right. And if you use tray dividers, because I went and made tray dividers that fit the Aegis trays, you can actually the intent is you get 2 games into one tray that way. So that way you put the map and the rules in the top. If it's a small, rule book, small, thin rule book and small map, you can fit 2 of those in there and all the counters. So you can squeeze 2 games into one and you can see what's on it, which is nice. And you can even put like your own insert on the top saying it's this game and this game. So you know what both games are in that thing when you're looking at it and take it off the shelf.
Kind of cool for S&T games as well, right?
Yes. Except if you want to do like the full series. What was it? Why did I go brain dead right now? I'm pulling a gimpy.
Close this window. I'll be back.
Oh, that wind's getting to you?
Bite me. What the hell?
Yeah,
my camera cut
off. Rebooted.
We lost Gimpy.
Well, see, now Ziploc games are a nostalgia trigger. That's true. But if I get a Ziploc game, oh my God, why am I on twice? I'm like a disembodied head. And it looks like the fire is coming out of the top of my head.
I have to check the camera before I put it back up. I don't know.
I'll break the camera. It's like, damn, your computer's possessed. But when you see a Ziploc game, at least to me, I'm expecting, and I know it's an inflationary time, but I'm expecting like a $20 game, a $25 game, not a $35 or $40 game in a Ziploc,
Yeah. That's why one of the reasons I go back to the last gamble, I am just thrilled with the volume of scenarios, number one, and then the number of options in terms of optional rules that are in that game. Yeah. You could play the last gamble 30 times, 40 times, and not cover all the combinations and permutations that they offer you up. It's pretty cool. And I've got the Fall of Tobruk up, just setting that up right now. Chris Fawcett's game. I'm cycling back to that, trying to give that a full playthrough. To another beautiful production by Compass, actually. Yeah, really nice.
Yeah.
They didn't promote that more.
They do really good job on they've really upped their production quality the past several years. Yeah. And they've really, really ramped up the war games in the last few years to where they're 2 a month, How
about that, right? How about that?
Yeah, apparently war game sales are not flat.
Yeah, who knew?
But War Game Ramble, Ziploc games are not my preference. I like to keep a tidy shelf. Well, that's why I used clamshells for them. I put one game on either side, and I close the clamshell. I could just pick it up and I could look on either side and see which game is on which of the 2 games I've got in there. But with the Aegis trays, I think it's going to be neat because you can do the same thing. You're going to have 1 or 2, but it would be nicer to have a box. I mean, me personally, I would love to have a box. I would love to have boxes like this size or smaller, kind of like the ones Blue Panther sells, that you just get a line on and you buy like a box of them and you have them and then you just slap a label on it, put your magazine games in there.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of the G&T boxes when they first came out, the 3-inch ones. That's where I keep all my magazine games. That way I need to sort of go through them all again, but it's all there's so many choices there, I think. But anyway.
Well, John, you're saying you can't hack the Americans in the tan in the last gamble.
Historical,
that's actually accurate.
Get with the program. Yeah, get with the program.
Yeah, that's actually accurate. That's what they wore, is like an olive tan.
Stop buying into SBI's graphical limitations from the 80s. Dude, we can only do gray or green. What color should we make each side? Let's do the Germans in gray and do the Americans in green. And way back in the day,
pink.
SBI, the Soviets were green in were green and white in the SPI games because it was Germans and Soviets.
This is true.
Now we have choices.
Yeah, that's true too. And it is amazing. It said War Game Rambo, SPI perfected counter art. Everything since then has just been cartoon nonsense. I don't agree. There's been a lot of great counters out there. Perfect example, Pipe Creek and Most Fearful Sacrifice. Great art on those.
Yeah.
And they went away from the blue and gray. They went with the blue and butternut, which is more accurate. Just like, that there's a question there for who was it, John, that was saying that he didn't like the tan. Would you not want to play an ACW game without gray Confederates with butternut color? Because that was actually more accurate to what they wore.
Yeah. And we just get, I think we just get, we get comfortable with what has been.
But
now we can be unburdened by that.
Unburdened by everything. Must be unburdened by everything.
So I like the different color counters. I like the pictures. Like
I like the pictures.
I need pictures and crayons. I want my crayons.
All the little pictures. I like to see the tank. I like to see the BMP or the BTR.
Sure.
If it's infantry, give me NATO symbols and we're good to go.
Yeah, I'm the same way. When it's a vehicle, I want to see the vehicle rather than just a standard armor or mechanized, symbol. And infantry can just be infantry. I don't need to see the dudes kneeling, standing, shooting, whatever. I know it's infantry. But when it comes to a vehicle, I want to know what type of vehicle.
Yeah, silhouettes are cool. You can argue you don't like them, whatever, don't care. All right.
True.
Yeah, I like them. Yeah.
Paul's got something here. So GMT is going to be doing rainbow counters.
Dangerous territory, Paul. Let's not go there. Right? That's not inclusive and it's gatekeeping. Stop it.
Are they really? Please, I don't know. Because it's impossible nowadays.
Well,
you can't tell what's a joke nowadays.
It is GMT.
It's all a joke. Let's see. I do miss flat finish counters though. Everything's glossy. That is a good point. The counters have gotten more glossy. I do like the flat better.
Who's the glossy? Who has the glossy? Here's a question for the audience. Who has the glossiest counters?
Who has the glossiest counters of them all?
Who has the glossiest counters of them all? Please tell us in the comments.
War gamers on the wall. Who has the
glossiest counters
of them all?
I hate to say it, but World of War 85, the map, not the counters, but the maps are a little more glossy than I would prefer.
Yeah, they're kind of thick too, aren't they, though?
Yeah, even with refracted light, though, I'm bouncing it down to it, and I'm still getting a glare. I have to adjust my lights around. And it's not
refracted.
It's not bad, but it is glossier than I would prefer.
He's refracted. Yeah.
Like I say all the time, this is what we mean about Gimpy being like the little brother we love to pick on.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Well, I can't help it that I'm 30 years younger than you guys.
This is true.
I don't always understand
Are you really 30 years younger than me, you worthless little shit? You're
back when you guys were making counters on printing presses and shit.
We play. I tell you what, we used to play test. We'd go over to Ben Franklin's house and he'd print out a couple sheets and we'd sit down and play.
Yeah.
Mold you some pieces using smoke pewter. You melt it down in the fire.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I have printed counters, sheets, and too lazy to put them on like a cereal box and just move little slips of paper around.
Ding, ding. We have the winner.
Well, what did it say? What was that? All counters are glossy? What's that?
DVG has the glossiest game boards. They have the glossiest everything.
Who's DVG? What? Who are they? What are they?
Yeah, they remember that company that used to put out a lot of games, DVG?
Oh, right. Didn't they do some solitaire games or something like that?
They did a bunch of solitaire games. They had like Leader Series and stuff, yeah.
Then they fell into a black hole of magic or something and never came out. What a shame.
I think we're still waiting on that Warfighter Fantasy to deliver.
This is true. They even have glossy rule books. Everything is gloss. The box, the components, everything. So
DVG sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a shame that I mean, they used to put out with some really, really quality stuff, and they're unfortunately the past several years their stuff has declined.
Well, you could actually map it. I actually pulled it up. I looked at all their Kickstarters, and you could see there was a period of time where it was 400%, 500%, 600% funded, and now like something happened, and then suddenly it's 120%, 130%,
Yeah.
125%.
Well, I think it's for them, it's a culture change where their attitude to the customer is, you are my piggy bank and I'm taking all the money from you when I need it, and I'm really going to give you whatever the hell I want. That's kind of the attitude that I got from them, and it
Yeah.
really did not sit well with me. And I saw how they treated you, Nate, and how they've treated other YouTubers and bloggers or whatever, and just how they treat customer service is just garbage. And the whatever whoever who's running the show now, what's his face's son,
Dan.
is just a knuckle dragging ding dong. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
What Paul says here is exactly it. The attention to detail went away and it started getting sloppy, and it became, you know what, we got your money on the Kickstarter, and unfortunately, you're just gonna have to wait till we ever get around to it. We need to get the next Kickstarter out. Before, they were turning them out on a regular basis, but the games were coming in on a fairly regular basis as well, which is fine because, you know, okay, I backed this one in February, say it's going to be here however many months or a year later. And then a few months later, they do the next one and the next one, because they went to a full Kickstarter was their model. They didn't do anything self-published anymore, or rarely. And the thing that really helped them quite a bit was the David Thompson games, because he handed them basically full games. They were like done. All they had to do is hit print, you know, and they were all solid games. And that's when I think they started
Valiant Defense series was life support for them.
Yeah. And I think that's where Dan started stepping back. And I think that's where they ran into some trouble. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, it could be, the ship could be righted if Dan got more involved again. I don't know if he is or not. It doesn't seem that way right now. But if he did and he righted the ship, they put out plenty of fun games along the way over the years, and would like to see them do that again. But they've kind of fallen off a lot of people's radars because of the fact they put the Kickstarters out. They've not fulfilled in a timely fashion, or some not at all. So
well, and also the follow-up has been terrible as well. So
well, it's a recipe of disaster of their own making, though. If you've got more Kickstarters going, you're spinning too many plates and you're not able to deliver in a timely fashion, and then you've also cut off all the people who used to advertise for you. So now people aren't getting the games, so they're not talking about them, and the people who used to review them aren't doing it for you anymore. Of course, no one's going to be hearing if you've got something new in the works, because no one's spreading the word for you. There's no good word from the customer, and there's no good word from the reviewers.
In a way, they're kind of like MMP. They have their core group that's always going to buy from them no matter what, but they're not expanding that core group.
Yeah, I don't know even if that exists anymore. Like I remember remember Derek who lives in California, right? I mean, Derek used to get all of they would send him 12 games, right?
Single-handed warfare was his channel.
Yes, that's right. So you know what? When I started chatting to him, I said, "So, do you really only have one hand?" Never mind.
The sound of one hand clapping.
I'm so literal sometimes. That's why I have so many issues with rules. What do you mean by that? But he showed me this huge box of games. He goes, "Dude, just call them and blah blah blah, and they'll send it all to you." And I was like, but they're all solo, and really it was all the same system. So I just got Phantom Leader. I think a friend of mine gave it to me, and I played that. I was like, "Hey, that's okay." And but he played them all, and he loved all of them and had a great time with them. Now I don't think he'll touch them anymore. Like he doesn't play war games as much anymore either. But he's just like, the company has changed. They stopped supporting the ecosystem that provided a sales engine for them, or referral engine for them. So anyway,
it's true. You know, they had all those leader games. I played several of them. I reviewed some. You know, like B-17 was a great game. It had issues in the rule book, but if you could battle through the issues in the rule book, you would find a fun game in there. And I was willing enough when I was playing that. Had played enough of the leader series at that point to kind of figure out how to read between the lines on some things and just make things up as I went. You know, and just kind of house rule it as I went. And I found it fun, along with the tank leader and all that other, not tank leader, what was it?
Sherman leader.
Sherman leader,
Sherman leader,
you know, and all
yeah.
that stuff. I didn't play
Sherman
the
leader
other
was
one.
good.
Yeah, it was. And
But
then
now, but look, they've been supplanted now, right? By what's his name's games from Compass.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
American Tank Ace
Yeah.
blows them out of the water.
Blows them out
Yeah.
of the water, right?
totally,
It's not
totally.
even close.
Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting you off, Mo. there.
No, it's true. I mean, you have something like Tank Leader or any of Greg's games. I mean, he makes these amazing solitaire games that are just like you
So
really
fun.
don't need anybody else. That's it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I literally will not buy a solo game unless it's one of Greg's designs, because there's just enough rules, just enough narrative, just enough meat, just enough decision making to make it a fun, narrative-rich, choice-rich game playing experience. The next level of complexity is so over the top, I don't want it, or it's so dumbed down, and I'll use Phantom Leader series as a example of that, or perhaps even Hunters, right?
Yeah.
Even though his is derivative of Hunters, he's
Well, that's his
enriched it.
system. Yeah.
Right. So did he do Hunters?
He did the Hunter series. Yeah.
Okay. So I thought Hunters was kind of less choice rich.
Yeah. There was.
But I like all the new stuff. I've really enjoyed.
Yeah, he's improved his own systems each time he comes out with something new. He tweaks them enough to make them feel fresh and new and similar, you know, familiar, but not like the same game, you know, which is great. And now he's working on an infantry one too, which is going to be like Tank Leader. So, or Tank Ace.
Cool.
So
there is a set of video games, and I don't know if you guys are into these or not, but they're basically called roguelite or roguelike. And it's the game series where you start off and you have to proceed through the game to a point until you get killed. And then you start over and you keep going. You start over and keep going, see if you can beat your score. Sometimes the game will have you level up or gain slow type progression after you make run after run. But the excitement of those games tends to be how far can you make it on a single run, right? There's no save, there's no lives, you die, you die. These games operate, they're the board game version of that.
Yep.
Right? How far can you make it in your campaign? Can you survive the entire campaign? And I can see why people would get into it. It's the same reason those video games have done well. But what Greg's done is taken what, you know, DVG used to do okay at and done really well. Now, some of them are better than others. I think American Tank Ace did the best job of having choice in the player's hands, because it wasn't just some of the games you just pick what you're taking on the mission and then you play out the mission. You don't have as much choice. Here you had choice. What targets are you going to shoot at? Where are you going to position your tank? Are you going to move forward? Are you move back? Where are you rotating your turret? Are you firing machine gun? Are you firing Willie P? There was a lot of choice to be made on the battlefield and off the battlefield. If he keeps up along those lines, then his series will just continue to sell like hotcakes.
Oh yeah. And
Amazing.
Greg, if you see this, British Tank Ace, start it now.
Oh, he's trust me. Greg has, like, every time I see him at Expo, which is next week, I'll be seeing him again, seeing what else he's got going. He's got, like, I don't know, 10, 15 prototypes going at one time. I mean, he's a machine. I keep saying like he's a cyborg. It's true. He has ideas. He just throws them down into PowerPoint, creates these little prototypes and works on them. And it's amazing how quickly he can come up with these ideas, you know, like Atlantic Sentinels. He was trying to figure out how to get it to work where he could work it in with the hunters. And he said to me, he texted me one night, he's like, oh, I think he was out walking the dog or something like that. It's just, dude, I just cracked the code. It just popped into my head while I was walking the dog. And I was like, well, okay. Start walking your dog and boom, and come up with a game idea. Awesome. You know,
is he married?
What's that?
Is he married?
Yeah.
Damn.
So
I figured a guy like that so productive, he had to be single.
Did he ever release that Coliseum Gladiator fighting game?
That's coming out. That is coming out. That's going to be a fun one.
That was so much fun.
You played that at CSW up in Dallas, right? Yeah. That is a fun game.
Really fun.
Yeah. And now he's adding animals to it as well.
Like the lions, like feeding the Christians.
Yeah. Nice. So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be a really fun game, and it's a fast-moving game too. So
Yeah,
it's the kind of game you can sit. It's the perfect game to play after you've been playing a bunch of big games all day, or just one big game or whatever. At the end of the night, sit down, you get a bottle of whiskey, play that, and just smack talk everybody that's playing, and everyone's just sitting there betting on. You can even make it into like a betting game where people are betting on who's fighting and stuff. So I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I love how it builds in those career aspects to the game.
Yes.
So I played the British. He's got a British Tank Ace game in development, I believe.
Yeah,
I played that 3-4 years ago, but it's just never come out yet. I think so. That was fun because I was shooting eye ties. What could go wrong in Africa, right?
True. And then Night Fighter Ace and Interceptor Ace. Yeah, I mean he has so many ideas, and like I said, when he comes up with an idea, boom, he just makes the game. And he's got the Yamato game that's coming out in Paper Wars, I think, at the end of the year. Syncing of the Yamato, so that's going to be an interesting solitaire game as well.
Yeah, very cool.
Should make YouTuber race.
Oh, here, took
put videos out.
Stuka just said that up there about the Gladiator game. So
yep, yeah, the Gladiator game. Yes, that's going to be a lot of fun. And I think all that stuff is great, and it's great the way he just produces those games. He just comes up with the ideas, and bam, it's great for us because we just have just a steady diet of all of his great games to play and enjoy. And I'm happy for him that he's found this groove to where he could just make game after game after game in such a rapid fashion.
And so no errata, great quality components.
Yeah, American Tank Ace had a fair amount of errata.
Yeah, there's errata. I mean, there's some errata. I mean, it's not like it's a total mess or anything, but yeah.
Right. Okay, that's fair enough. Right. Yeah, I don't have Tank Ace, so I don't.
Oh yeah. No, you got to get Tank Ace. American Tank Ace is great.
Maybe I'll get that. That's Compass game, right? I get on the Compass.
Yeah, they got the big Compass sales right now.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, a lot of good games.
Yeah, I always like looking at that to see like when you see the like super mega discounts, like the kind of we need to get rid of that shit and get it out the door.
Well, they got some games that are like really bargain basement discount, like Lebensraum. I guess they just have too many of them that haven't moved. They're selling for $20.
Yeah. Well, what happened to getting it in the mail? I mean,
you didn't get yours?
No, I get to download it, and I just don't want to look at the screen. I love flipping through it.
Yeah. So, and encircling what you want. You just keep pouring over it.
Old school thing, right?
Yeah. I got mine. I'm surprised you didn't get yours. I mean, because they all went out. So
I mean, I get shit shipped to me.
You probably did get it, and your wife threw it out because she's like, he doesn't need any more games.
Hi, honey.
She's like, no, that's it. You're done. No more.
Gotta be nice.
Now, this one here is the Storm Above the Reich, Skies Above the Reich. That's another one that everybody talks highly of. I had played, what was the first one? It was Skies Above the Reich.
That's a GMT game.
Yeah. I think it was the first one. That was with the blocks and everything. And everyone loved it because they were like, oh, the rule book is intuitive. And I was like, the rule book is a flip book. It's not a rule book. It literally walks you step by step through the game, which is great. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's not a rule book. It's a flip book, which is what a lot of people who played any of the D-Day games, the D-Day series games has used a flip book because that's way better than wading through the rules to sit down and read the flip book, which tells you here's step number 1 and here's the steps on what you need to do. If you need to read the rules, go to these pages. Here's step number 2. Same thing. Here's the steps and here's the rules if you want to go read the rule book. But you don't have to with the flip book. You can literally just play the game through the flip book, which is fantastic. And he just took that and rolled it into that game system, which is great because it makes it where you don't have to sit down and read the rules. You sit down and you follow along. Here's how to set up, and here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, which is really cool. And I played it, and it didn't grab me, which didn't shock me all too much because I'm not huge on air games, but I wasn't as enamored with it as everyone else was. But I mean, it's a solid game, great production, of course, and it was fun for what it does, but just it didn't do much for me.
Well,
hey, Mike.
I just sent Compass Games an email saying, "Hey, can I please have a copy of the printed catalog so I can do a video on it?"
Oh, there you go.
They'll probably go, "No."
Well, it depends. If Bill reads it, he'll
We-
say no,
We've
just
seen your
because,
videos.
or yes. You know, he may not even respond and just send you one, because the thing about Bill is, like, he even said it during the town hall, like last town hall a couple weeks ago. You can ask him a question and you can give him like a paragraph question, and he'll just either answer it yes or no. That's just,
Works
he's a
for
man
me.
of few words.
Works for me.
So Gimpy Nordic saying you froze up. What did you freeze up on?
The Internet Explorer just froze up. I had to wait it out
Okay.
till it.
Oh, there's your first problem. Your browser.
Well, it's Firefox.
Yeah.
Okay. Second
See,
For some reason, it gets overloaded.
that's a thing though, Joe, about an air game. Anytime an air game takes more time to play than what it recreates, it's like watching a movie in slow motion. There's really no other way to get something like that. It's like playing a racing game. If you're playing a Formula One game or a NASCAR game,
Right.
these vehicles are going at like 200 miles an hour. It's going to move slower than that. So you have to make allowances for that. That's why the
Yeah.
races are
Yeah.
3 laps or something versus 61 or something, or 200 or something.
Well, that's why minis are so good for air games, because you get to
Yeah.
visualize what's going on, like the Charlie on your 6 or something like that. whatever that
Especially if you
game
can
is.
get the altitudes. Yeah.
Those altitude sticks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's always been so much fun to play those games.
Age of Dogfights, World War One and World War Two did
Right.
a good job of that. They had like 5 different levels of altitude and all the maneuvers you can make with the aircraft. The World War II version is just starting to ship now, but it took them a while. They're real small family publisher, Versage Games, but it's literally like mom, dad, kids working to publish their games. So I think they got caught up in something. I think COVID hit them hard, and it took them a few years longer to get the game out, but it finally released.
That's cool. Very
So
cool.
Brian has been talking to me about, he's kind of gotten a little fixated on Command and Colors lately.
Oh,
And
cool.
now he's asking you for your final opinion on CNC Tricorn, the American Revolution. I've not played that one.
Yeah.
Have you played
Isn't
that one?
that a block game?
Yeah.
Well,
it
it's
Yeah.
not. It is and it's not. It's a block game, but the Command and Color series is a block game with the stickers on both sides, so it's not hidden information.
Or you save time and put stickers on one side and lay them flat.
You can do that too.
Yeah. So I've played Ancients and Napoleon and one other, maybe the Great War one. And I felt that Tricorn was one of the ones that had the most variation in the units. I played it opposed to one of my buddies had a copy. And we had a great time. I don't know, I can't remember what battle we played, but I really enjoyed it because all the different units had different capabilities and different ranges. And I'm not going to say it was morale, but they had different, generally speaking, this is 5 years ago or 6 years ago. So I'm delving back into receding memory. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was a big improvement for me over the Ancients, which I did not like as much. And I do like the Napoleonic stuff, but I thought they kind of milked the cow a little hard with all the different armies and stuff. It was just got out of control. Plus, I didn't like the fact the scale changed all the time as well. So, but anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I would recommend it.
So there you go. There you go, Brian. You have gotten Kev's seal of approval, so go ahead and purchase it if you can find it.
For whatever that means, right? Yeah.
No, I mean, I was explaining to him about the CNC system, how it works, and it's, if you've not, have you played any of these, Nate? Command and Colors? You'd like it because it has custom dice.
Yeah. Custom dice, man. It's all about the hit dice, bro.
See, now the one I would like to try is the
gotten...
Samurai one. That one I'd like to
see.
try.
That's the one I thought about getting. Last year I was eyeballing it. I'll wait a little bit longer.
Don't they have the minis with that? Because one of the Samurai versions for Borg.
Yeah, Borg's one had the minis.
Had the minis, and I would love to get a copy of that, but I don't want to pay that shit. So it's not.
Yeah, I forget what it was called, but
A
the one
GMT game with minis.
no, it was somebody else that did
Someone
it.
else
I
produced
think
it.
I can't remember who printed it, but you
Well,
had to put the miniatures together. I think.
yeah. Borg's kind of a hoe for whoever publishes this game. He'll work with them, right?
Hey, if you want to publish
whatever.
it, go for it.
Whatever works.
So now we got a question for you from Ed. Hey Nate, are you in on the new Broken Arrow beta test?
Did that just start? If it's the multiplayer one, I haven't bothered with it. I've been waiting for I'm in their beta, and I've been getting the invites to it. But the latest one I saw was multiplayer, which I really wasn't all that keen on. I'm looking forward to the single player campaign for
What is
Broken
this
Arrow.
Broken Arrow? To explain, what are we talking about? Context?
It's a game by Slytherin. It's very similar to Warno.
Okay.
Strategic level, you have an influx of points, and those points you can use to bring in certain units, so tanks or Bradleys or infantry, whatever, and you'll have objectives spread across the map. So you have to take out this artillery position or capture this city. Good graphics, destructible terrain. You can call in air support. You can call in artillery support. You have to be mindful of your units. It's not Command and Conquer where you can just keep building new units. You have a limited amount of stuff. So you might have a order of battle that you design up that has so many infantry units. They have trucks and so many tanks that you can bring in, whatever. Similar to another game, Steel Division. Another game, that one's in World War II. Broken Arrow's shaping up to be really good. It's the only one of its ilk that has any real single player campaign associated with it. I did a preview on it, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and they're still working on it. I was hoping it was going to release this year, but it seems like it'll be next year. It got pushed back, sadly
So
enough.
Nordic is
But
saying someone
it
needs
does
to
look
make
really good.
someone needs to make a Learning the Eastern Front series of games videos ASAP. I set up Learn Game for Barbarossa Army Group Center, 1941. So I don't think anybody's going to make a video series on how to play that game that quick. Before you beat it, you just set it up, but it might be a good thing for you to do that.
Yeah, go ahead and make a video series. But I'm happy to help you out, buddy. It's not.
What he could do is he could shoot videos, post them, and let everybody correct him, and then he'll know how the right way to play is.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just posting this video to see if I'm doing it right. Oh no, you're a moron. You're doing it completely wrong.
Exactly.
You need to go in a corner and die. You must be a gatekeeper.
Yep.
It does not look like I got the newest beta thing. I know I'm on that beta, but I might have to contact my contacts at Slytherin to get onto it.
Ah, nice. Take one phase at a time, go through it a number of times until you get the phase down, then move to the next one. That's one way of doing it. You can do the first phase, you can do the first turn like that. And then after that, I think it's better just to muddle, even if you muddle through it, just muddle through it, turn after turn, understanding that, nothing matters in this game. This is a learning game. I don't care how bad I make, mistakes on it, or I should say make tactical or strategic errors. You're there to learn the game. Don't learn the game before you actually play the game. You learn it first, then you can worry about playing it correctly. I should say learn how to play it correctly before you learn how to play it better.
Right, exactly. So Nordic, FYI, there is a very cool, I want to say it's 2, maybe 1.5 pages of play by extended sequence of play online, and it's for the older version of the rules, but it's 98% accurate. You could use that, and it's step by step, and you cannot fail to get all the rules right if you use that extended sequence of play. So I have like 2 copies of it printed out, and I've got one in every box. It's a really good helper and prompt with, and I believe it has rules references as well. So
who did that? Was that done by a
just
was it fan made, or did it go into
it's fan made? It's not in the box at
Oh,
all.
wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
Because expanded sequence of plays are really, really huge. I'm a fan of that. And I know that, you had issues with Aaron Armour's rules, but from everybody that I talked to that has played it, I've played it, but at the con with Bruce,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I'm gonna be playing it again next week. So it's easy to, when you have the rules guy with you to
Oh,
teach
sure.
you. But I heard that everyone says that if you play it off of the sequence of play, you follow that, which reminds me of exactly the same way with NATO. You pretty much don't need to sit
Right.
down and read the rule book.
Right.
You can read them as you go,
Sure.
but
Sure.
it makes it easier. And that's why I think having a really solid expanded sequence of play like that
Super
is
cool.
really important in today's
And
game.
important, right? Yeah, very important. I would
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. In fact, often if I'm vacillating on what I'm going to play next, I will look at 3 or 4 titles and then jump on BGG and see if there are any fan-made rule summaries or extended sequences of play, and I'll lean towards one of those.
Yeah.
Because it saves you time. Like right now, I'm reading the rules for Fall of Tobruk, and they're fine, but there's a little cheat sheet. So yeah, cool. I can skim read the rules now, and I can move straight to setting up and clipping and getting it going. So
I think that actually is better if they do that, because the rules are what's going to teach you the game. But if you can have a good expanded sequence of play, that also will teach you the game the best way, which is to get you playing the game. And then when you're stuck in a section, I mean, like, okay, here's where you check line of sight, or, check your Zocs. Everybody knows that. Okay. Is there anything special for a Zoc or line of sight here? No, then I don't need to worry about it. But once you get to this other section, maybe a supply rule or something like that, you go, okay, go to page X, 25. Okay, let's go to page 25, read that. All right, sounds pretty standard. Oh, no, this is different. Okay, it's standard except for this change. All right, then you go back in and you play. You skim through the rules a page or 2 or 3 or 4 at a time while you're playing. It really locks it in your head a lot better than sitting down and just dry reading a rule book, because I hate dry reading a rule book. I want to sit down. I almost always will sit down and just go, okay, let's pull out the game. All right, how do we set up? And then I sit down and set it up, and then I go from there.
Man.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for punishment. I learn better by doing and seeing and pushing counters around than I do by reading a rule book ahead of time. And I find that if I do that, then when I go back and read the rules, it locks in my head a lot better, because I've seen it, I've done it. Now I can relate to it. I don't know. Backwards learning.
I got to read the rules first, otherwise I'm lost.
Oh yeah, you're big on reading rules, and Nate, you're really good at going from one game to the next, just like Kev is.
Well, I have kind of a system I do to try to get it to stick in my head. So I'll drive read the rules once, then sit down with the game.
Sticky notes everywhere.
No, I just go over it again with the components in front of me. That way, what I've read previously is kind of in there, bouncing around. That way, when I'm reading it the second time, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. And set it up as I go. And then just hope it stays there long enough to record.
Well, if it's a big rule book, like for example, Aaron Armour, if there's a big rule book, something like that, or the Thin Red Line game.
I haven't even started. I'm terrified.
But
I haven't even read it. Like the game it seems too daunting. I know I should, but like you pick up the rule book and you just kind of
daunting as you think.
There's only 45,000 extraneous words. Don't worry about it. You're fine.
When games have the if this, then this, if this, then this, that's where it starts to jumble in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know I'm going to mess that up. I don't mind making a modifier mistake or rounding.
Right.
Sure.
But most of that doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, it's kind of work out.
But if I'm going to play it completely wrong, that just
one,
I guess it scares me a little bit.
My favorite thing in those rules there'll be 3 paragraphs, and then at the end they'll say, "Now, to be perfectly clear,
just so you know,
dude, could we just say what we mean instead of whatever it is you're saying?"
Yeah, start with the perfectly clear part.
Oh, dude. I mean,
It's like the song "One Thing Leads to Another." Do what
Yeah.
you say what you mean.
yeah. Danny Parker, I'll give him kudos. I have only had to send him 3 or 4 text messages on Facebook about rule clarifications. Everything has been there's a
Pretty
lot
rock
there.
solid, yeah.
There's a lot there, and it's subtle and detailed and nuanced and thematic, but it's all there, man, and it's good. So
Well, I will say that it's a combination of Danny and his team, especially Rich, because Rich is he's the
yeah,
guy who did the learn to play videos with me, and he does the teach. I mean, it was tough doing those videos because of the simple fact that
dude.
he's a stickler for all of the details, and he would catch mistakes that he was making, and he'd want to re-record a video, and then we'd have to re-edit it, the whole 9 yards. So
Wow.
that kind of added some time to it, but he's a Marine officer. Attention to detail is the big thing. So that's why you have that. That's why you have that in the rules as well. And there's living rules, and some people I know have said, "Wow, that's a lot of stuff." It's like, well, number one, it's not a simple game. It's not
Right.
a easy,
Right.
low complexity game. There's layers of complexity there. So a lot of rules. There's going to be some errors, and they got them out there, the living rules now. So you can either print out the errata or the living rules, and that's just kind of par for the course when you have a complex game.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Now, this is funny. I thought World of War had good rules, a couple of great sequence of play and player aids. The one thing that Lock and Load Publishing will never be accused of is lacking in player aid cards.
You are not wrong on that.
There are player aid cards that tell you which player aid card to look for.
It's so epic. It's like I just
Yeah.
we need to make a player aid card for that
We have
guy.
84 pages of player aid card. Dude, that's bigger than most rule books.
It's hilarious.
That's not even all of them. That's just a handful.
Yeah.
That's
still
the
more.
index. That's the index to the player aid card.
That's the player aid
This is the
index, yeah.
player aid cards to the player aid cards.
Yeah. But I tell you what, God bless him. Like if you want to, you could play the game off the player aid cards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to dig
Or
around
your dog chewed
them.
up your rule book.
Well,
yeah.
You could be that guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never leave your rule
but they
book
did
half
do
of-
something good though. Did y'all see where they put the chat bot for the rule book?
I heard about that.
I haven't
seen
looked at it. Is it good?
I poked around with it and it works pretty well.
Nice.
So in the review I did, I put the link. You can go get the link from that. It's open for everybody. You can just open the page and they entered the whole rule book in there, and the AI does a good job of it. So I just, asked it a few questions just to see how it would respond, and it did well. And I had to actually use it to find some stuff because the rule book was chew toy. So when I was looking up, could the helicopter be shot at by green AP firepower or shit like that, it could tell me. Right. So the chat bot is actually decent. It's definitely well worth using. If you pull it up on your phone while you're playing the game, it can save you the trouble of looking up anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's
definitely good on them.
Yeah, utilize the tools that are available, so you can't beat that. But it is true though that Lock and Load has never met a player aid they didn't like, and I love it that they do that. I do love
I
player
do too. It's really cool.
It is. But the other thing about their player aids too is they want to make sure that anybody who even has failing eyesight can read them, because they are fold outs and they're huge.
Yeah.
Which is great, because the only problem you run into with them sometimes is if you need 4 or 5 of them and they're fold outs, you're like, all right, wait, where do I put it? And then you're just like, oh wait, it's not in this player aid, it's on this other one, and then you're just shuffling player aid cards when you're looking for different information. But it works fantastic, and the World of War 85 system is awesome, and Blood and Fury will be out pretty soon.
Yeah, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he lives up in Massachusetts, and he's
a masshole.
He's a masshole, and so he's like, oh yeah, I tried that game. Guess it's just a bucket of dice game. I went, well, actually, Yes, but no, because there's so much more to it than that. I think I was kind of surprised. He's a ASL aficionado, or as I call him, the ASL monk. Right, it's really all he plays. He'll dabble with other things. He buys lots of games and then sells them. And I was like, well, it's literally not for you because you're an ASL guy, but there's so much rich narrative and actually pretty interesting doctrine built into the card activation system and the way that units fire. And anyway, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm not even going to try and convince you that it's for you because who cares? It's your problem. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a it's a meaty game without being overly complex, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, you can play with minis all day long, right? They even have the cards for it.
Yeah.
Comes in the box, plus a full solo rule book.
Yeah, which is the funny thing is, you can easily play miniatures with that because of everything's data cards. So you don't even need to worry about, I mean, you do want to use the counters, but you don't have to worry about the counters as much as you do with every other war game because you have the data cards as reference. So it makes it a lot easier. So anyway, does anybody have any updates on what they've got coming up on their channel here pretty soon?
One thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned, David was nice enough to send me an extra map specifically for you all, the viewers, I mean. So, like World of War 85, the Storm in the Gap had the big map, and Blood and Fury's got the big map. So he sent me an extra one for Blood and Fury, since we're not Blood and Fury, Storm in the Gap, excuse me, since we are coming up on Christmas. So I would have an extra giveaway. So if you want one of those huge canvas maps to play Storm and Fury with, make sure you turn in for the Christmas episode, because I will be giving away one of those courtesy of Lock and Load Publishing.
Very nice.
And obviously, I'm going to be playing the big one. Operation Red Gauntlet is the expansion, the one that's 8 maps big.
Yeah.
So as soon as that map comes in, I'm going to set that shit up and just start filming the hell out of it. Just play through as much as I can. I want to see the whole thing. Stacks of counters everywhere. Just got to keep the cats out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to keep the cats out, keep the dog out. No more rules being chewed up, no counters being chewed up, or player aids, or any of that stuff.
Well, that was my fault on the rule book. I left it outside. Outside, set it down, came in, got my coffee.
What dog eats a rule book? Can we? What sort of mutt do you have?
He is a German short-haired pointer, and he chews everything. We have to keep him muzzled when we're not around because we are afraid he's going to kill himself. He has chewed through every cable he could find.
Dude.
Thus far, he has been lucky that he hasn't caught one that's been plugged in.
Have you tried training your animals?
We have, dear God. Evidently, it's part of the breed. They're very excitable and they chew. And he is in this puppy phase. Anything he can get his teeth on, he just chews it apart.
Have you gotten one of those Jolly toys? They're like a ball with a rope through the center?
Yes.
Shock collar. Have you tried shock collar?
No, she won't let me get a shock collar.
Then get the sound thing. There's the ultrasound thing.
I tried that.
Oh, that didn't work.
I tried that. I would push the button, and the first few times he jerked, and now, like, after I would push the button, he just looks up at me like, I dare you.
I'm telling you, shock collar. You don't have to. It doesn't hurt them, right? You just. I have a border collie that misbehaves, and he will run off chasing deer and stuff, and won't come back. All I need to do is I just beat. He's got his collar on. It makes a beep, and he literally skids to a halt and goes, "I'm coming right now."
I know it's coming next
because he knows it goes when it goes 1 zap, then it goes 2 zaps, then 3 zaps, and it will escalate till I hear a little yip, and then I stop, and he will come home.
See, this one, he's like a teenager. He's defiant. And he'll look me right in the eye like, I dare you, old man, do something about it.
He's not a person. You've got to stop. You're like my wife. She thinks that animals are people. They're not. They're animals.
He's
Treat them
smart.
like
Though.
an animal.
I do. I want to treat him like an animal. The wife's all about, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You need to be nice to him. I'm like, he's going to get a live wire eventually, and his head's going to explode.
You got to be
I'm
nice
trying
to
to
him,
save his life.
but you also have to alpha up on them and make sure that they understand you're the head of the
You
pack.
need to know, who's the boss, man.
Yeah.
Like my dog gets treats and love, and he's the first thing in the morning. He comes running in, and he runs right to the bed, sits at the foot of the bed, and waits until he's invited to come up. He does not run up on the bed. Then he snuggles up, he gets a pat, and I'll say, "You're done." And he turns around and he knows that he's done. And he goes down the other end of the bed and leaves me the hell alone until I'm ready to get up.
You're done. You got your affection quota for the day.
Affection quota achieved.
Where we've trained him, or where I've trained him, he's really good. Like when it's coming into the house, he knows that if the hands up and stay, that he stays and waits until I say, come on, and then he'll come in the house. But he knows he's going to get a treat from me if he does that.
Right.
Well,
so it's all positive reinforcement. You use the shot collar for when he misbehaves, and reinforcement when he does the right thing. Leave a book out, leave something you don't care about out, and tell him not to touch it. Like catch him going to get it, and then tell him not to. And when he doesn't do it, when he behaves himself, give him a treat.
Yeah, I got the Stuka shirt on today.
Nice.
In honor of you, buddy. Oh, FYI, you're printing. Don't take this the wrong way. I still love you, man, but it peels after so many washings.
Well, wash it inside out.
The Stuka is coming off.
Wash it inside out.
It's still gonna get washed.
But wash it inside out preserves preserves the transfer.
Yeah, preserves the transfer. We're gonna tell you everything.
Give it a shot.
How old are you again?
This is the old guys teaching the young guy.
1.
Yeah. Well,
I don't
here's one more piece of advice.
I don't do laundry. I got married, so I didn't have to do laundry.
When you take your shirt off,
you don't do your own laundry?
I haven't done laundry, and I can't tell you.
God, I've done my laundry my entire life.
That's woman's work, of course. That's what wives are for. But
I've been doing my laundry my entire life, except for when I was a kid.
Certain things. I have her around for certain things. There's certain things I can't or won't do. That's what she does. I take care of the stuff she can't or won't do. I think that's a fair arrangement. I'm the cook.
Microwaves don't count.
She can I can cook well. She can't cook. She burns. The stove only has 2 settings on hers for her. Full on or off. There is no in between. I've tried to get her to understand, red means burnt. It means black. But that girl, I love her, but damn, she could burn water.
Well, Brian, that's not very inclusive.
There are pink jobs and blue jobs. I'm not worried about the blue jobs. I'm worried about the other jobs.
I was expecting you were going to go
waiting for that, right?
That.
Oh, what a surprise! And Nate said something salacious.
What?
So
I didn't say a word.
So what do you got coming up on your channel, Nate? What's new for you coming up soon?
Like I said, I'm going to be doing the World War 85. I've got a small series that I've already got mostly filmed. Just got to finish up the last few turns. I am working on all that Maladum stuff. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's Maladum, Maladum. It's the fantasy version of Core Space, all-time favorite miniatures game. It's awesome. The terrain's great. The pieces are great. I'm finishing painting them up now. Anyone who likes miniatures-based games, definitely worth a look. A lot of gameplay in the box. Worth the money. All the good stuff. And they didn't sponsor me. They haven't sent me shit. All right. I've bought everything that I've got from them. What else do I have coming up? Scramble Battle of Britain. That's coming out soon. That's by Slytherin Games. That's good. Broken Arrow. I'm going to try some more of that. The Armored Brigade, Armored Battalion, whatever it is by them. 2 is coming out. Burden of Command. And there's one that I can't remember for the life of me that I'm trying to think of. Is it on my desktop? Let's see if it's on my desktop. Shit, I can't remember. There's another No, it's not that one. It's not Gary Grigsby. Having a brain fart. But I've got other digital games coming as well.
Things.
Scramble, Battle of Britain, really good game. If you're into air combat, I've talked this game up before. You play it in 10, 15-second segments where you're choosing what your aircraft's going to do and you try to outmaneuver the opposing aircraft in dogfights. It has plenty of different scenarios, 1-on-1, 2-on-1, bomber escort, all that cool stuff. And you have to try to outmaneuver and shoot down your opponent. Physics-based stuff with your aircraft. You can take a couple of rounds, but if you get your elevator blown off, then you're done for.
Yeah,
I think that'll cover it. Yeah, that's what I got going on.
What about you, Kev?
Not as much as him. So Fall of the Brook, setting up.
Mm-hmm.
I've got that play by email game you and I are playing. I'm a little more, I think, involved than you are currently.
Yeah.
But, so you're waiting for your opportunity to do stuff. So play by email of The Fall of Singapore, which is an old S&T magazine game, and there's I think I have a team of
overachievers,
four or five guys who are overachievers, and it's the S&T game plus. It's got a whole bunch of supply stuff, and we can break units up into to do various things without giving stuff away. And there's intel gathering and all that sort of groovy stuff, aircraft and supply. So a lot of stuff on that. Fall of the Brook, and then I'm obviously doing Ardan 44 on Vassal with my buddy every Monday night. You're welcome to join in whenever you want to. I've got probably 4 bazillion after action reports I need to write, so who knows when they will get done. And I've got several short story bullshit things on my Substack that I need to push out on pretty soon. So lots of little bits and pieces, nothing too overwhelming.
Nice. Well, I get that. Like I said, Forward Defense 85. I'm not gonna try to do any video on it or anything. I'm just gonna try to throw it down on the table and play, because I've not had any time really to play, because
have some fun.
These videos, just been the 2 really big projects have sucked up so much time, and then day job, and then you come home and you're working on those, and then the next I'll learn to play Grant will probably be the last one for me for the year, and I'm gonna just probably take some time off all the way through December and start working on the next one late December into January, so that time frame, just because I want to decompress from that for a little while and try to actually get back to gaming. It's like we said, we haven't even played Fallujah. We were playing that regularly, and I haven't played in months.
Months, and then we need to work out a Friday night fights thing at some point. We've been talking about it, but I'm happy to try and do something on a Friday night.
Yeah. Well, we had talked about possibly 1793, but that would have to come later because we'd have to go through the rules and stuff. But I think if we can try to swing it, it might be a little late to do it now. Instead of that for Friday night, we might end up just doing like Fallujah or something. But we should probably try to play what do you call that? The one we played last Halloween. I'm getting like gimpy tonight. I can't remember anything.
The Long Road.
The Long Road.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Play one of those because it's Halloween. It would be perfect time to play one of those games.
Yeah.
And something like that on a Friday night. Maybe do a live stream on that as well.
That'd be cool.
Have some fun. Or
could we get a 4th player?
Possibly.
I mean, it was kind of fun, but last time, Kev was kind of hanging back, but he got beat up by the zombies while me and you just kept smashing into each other.
We should just get Walker to play the 4th player. Right?
That's what I was saying. We get him to play 2 sides, and we'll just split them up between 2 people, and then let Mark do what he always does, which is he narrates the whole thing. He's the MC basically.
And makes mistakes with his own rules, which I love. Right.
It's like, okay, just blow them all up, and then oh, wait a minute, we're not supposed to blow them.
Yeah, we kind of screwed Kev over there, but let's not worry about giving him his units back. I remember that.
And Aaron is asking if
I know you got attacked. That's what it was. The blowing up of
the zombies.
The zombies.
Yeah,
they blew up and took out a bunch of your stuff early on.
Yeah, they were all like Middle Eastern zombies because they just blew up, like they all had SFAS on or something. They just like went nuclear.
Yeah.
And that was actually really funny until he realized we're not supposed to do that. It's only supposed to be one at a time or something like that. I forget what it was exactly.
Yeah, Aaron, I don't think any of us are going to any cons over Veterans Day weekend. I'm not. You are, right? You're going
I'm going to Compass. Yeah, and there's Foxconn up here too in Dallas, but unfortunately, it's the same weekend as Compass Expo. So I will be. Yeah, I'll be at Compass Expo over Foxconn. So
is that?
And of course,
north? That's in Massachusetts or wherever it is.
Connecticut.
Whatever.
Connecticut, yeah. So same section of the country, but the thing that does suck is that they finally get a decent sized con here, and it's the same weekend I'm traveling. It's like,
Yeah, I heard there's quite a few people going. I was offered a ticket because some guy couldn't go.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to drive 5 hours to go play games with guys I don't know, and it's like getting out of the boat, right?
Yeah.
So play games with guys you just never played with before, unless you can at least get squared away.
Yeah, but there's going to be a bunch of people from Decision there too. I don't know who's going to be there for their teaching place because Decision's running this thing.
Yeah. I mean, it looks really cool, but if I could have lined up some games, I might have gone. But yeah, I don't.
Well, you don't play well with others, so.
Well, I am fabulous with others.
Yeah, Windows getting fixed, and you can keep waiting.
Yeah,
Brian.
good luck. Yeah.
You can keep waiting. If I wasn't busy, I would be working on that. But the problem with zombies, they're too mouthy. So you're not going to go to you're not going to Expo. You're going to Foxconn, huh? He's going to see the Volume 3 of the Battles in the East series. It would have been cool to see that, but unfortunately, like I said, it's on the same weekend, and I always go to Compass Expo, so I'll be up there. And Paul's like, it's all East Coast to me. So Doc is going to teach the Battles in the East. So,
well, the gloss is coming off that series for me a little bit. The supply rules are a little problematic, but we'll see.
Really?
Yeah. It just there's some things you can do that kind of break the game, right? Just because the sequencing of things, it's easier to rush in and get adjacent and then put people out of supply. And
that sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not.
Yeah, but then it becomes one of those things where that's a tactic at that point.
Right. It's a game. Yeah, it's literally a game you have.
Yeah. Then you're gaming the game, and it's like, well, it would be a valid tactic in real life. Yeah, it would be, but in a game, you want it to be a little bit different,
right?
Because you wouldn't even pull that in real life,
anyway. Right? It would be, but it never happened, right?
Yeah,
that's the thing. So anyway,
exactly.
It's all good. It's all good. There's some commentary online about it. I'm not the only guy that's worked that.
So yeah, that's true. No Compass this fall. I hate the con fratricide. It is a shame that the conventions are going to they kind of step on each other in that way. It would be nice if they could spread them out a little bit more, but Expo has been like that for years, and I don't know why. Well, I think I know why. I think that they're doing that in Plano this year because then they're going to BGG Con next week or the week after, or whatever. I think that's when BGG Con is. So I don't go, so I don't keep up on it. I used to go to that all the time and enjoyed it.
And BGE used to be good too.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I used to go to that, and then I stopped in like 2018 or so. But used to just mostly hang out with the war game people and play war games, and then play some other games too with other people I knew. But now I just go to war game cons.
Yeah,
but this time it's the big boys, Compass, GMT, and Decision. So gonna try and get a Compass for a day anyway, about an hour and a half drive away. Well, Mark, if you're there, definitely swing by and say hi. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us tonight. And next month we will be doing our sometime around Thanksgiving show. Now that we got back on track because the schedules were messed up, we didn't get to get in our regular show in September, so we did 2 in October. Next month we'll get back into our once a month, and then like Gimpy said, we'll have the Christmas show in December where we will be giving away games, and Gimpy's giving away that big giant beautiful map thanks to Lock and Load Publishing. So thanks guys for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next show. Have a great night, everyone.